Greetings and welcome back to another fun supporters stream over here on Switch to Linux. All right, I've remembered to unmute everybody. Let's go ahead and throw them up there on the screen. How's it going, everybody?
Pretty good.
All right.
Same old.
Do I have? Oh yeah. Hold on. Let me do a couple little fixes on my screen here. I forgot that I actually have some show notes I'm actually going to refer to today. I know, believe it or not, I do actually occasionally write show notes. Isn't that a miracle? All right. It's like 4 bullet pointed items, but, you know, hey, close enough, right? I'm looking a little gruff, too. This is about 1 week. This is how I become Quasimodo, or was that, I don't know. Quasimodo's the Hunchback.
All you need to do is you need to change Red Hat to Windows.
Oh, there you go. There you go. How's it going, Dan? All right. So, let's see a couple brief announcements before we get started. So this week we're on regular schedule. Next week we're on regular schedule. The week after that, no live streams. I will be at camp, and if I get the chance to put up extra videos before then, we will have some videos. But if not, I am pulling double duty this year, and so how in the world I'm going to be both a camp counselor and a kitchen staff at the same time is still completely beyond me, but we will figure it out as time permits. But so in 2 weeks will be when I am there, so we will not do news that week. I'm not going to keep up on news that week, so we might have to have one of those. Here's maybe a fun show when we come back, maybe like the Monday or so. You guys can do it like Glenn Beck and who's that other guy, Dave Rubin, do. You guys can make up some headlines for me and ask me which one really happened. If you guys want to do that, we'll do that. If you guys want to, it'll be like a Monday show or something when I come back. Although the following week, I'm actually teaching at a conference. So I don't know what that week's going to look like either. Although our conference technically only runs during the day, and I think my teaching course is just in the afternoon. So I don't know if I'm going to have more time or less time than I have in the past. So live stream from camp, not a possibility. Mostly because I need to be in the cabins, and we are doing astronomy. So 9 o'clock, we're going to be having telescopes out with the kids at camp, and then I need to help put the kids in the cabins for the night, and there's no time. And then of course, every time I'm not doing that, I need to be in the kitchen helping to cook. Yeah, that's not a possibility. And it is also in the range of a radio telescope, so there are absolutely no radio signals of any form whatsoever, and so cellular doesn't work. There is no internet except for what we can wire in directly, which we have decent internet up there, but it's not something that I can easily tap into for streaming and stuff like that. So, but no, we can't live stream from camp. Sounds fun, but no, we just unfortunately can't do that. Don't overstress myself. I won't overstress myself too much, but hey, a couple weeks of changing the routine.
This coming week, but the next.
So this week is normal. Next week is normal. The week after. Okay. So next week is like 4th of July week. I'll probably work as usual with I'll probably take most of 4th of July off. But you know, I'll be working the rest of the week. So as far as I know, so far we are planning live streams for then. But the following week, no live streams, no news. I won't even keep up on it. And then you guys can, trick me and ask me, what really happened this week. That'd be fun, right?
Yeah. I remember some the comedian suggesting the idea that one idea for a show could be once a month reading some Babylon Bee articles and guessing which one will come true within the next month.
Oh yeah, that would be a good one. Unfortunately, a lot of that leans more heavily political than I like to get on this channel, but I don't know. I mean, it's something we have to look into. I mean, believe it or not, I try not to be overly political over here, but you never know. Other thing, I have noticed seems to be something wrong with something in my microphone setup. So if sound cuts out, somebody let me know, blast me in the comments.
It's all the Canadian smoke blowing over here.
Yeah, it might be. I don't know. But I first noticed it when I was doing the Debian videos last week. because I had to cut those over. I was recording on a different computer. That's when the audio sounded a little flat because some stuff got messed up in the transfer. And but part of it was cutting out a little bit. And I'm like, what in the world's going on? And then the Debian video I just did a couple days ago did the same thing. I'm like, what in the world's going on? And I was thinking initially it might just be that computer. Well, during some audio recording for yesterday's video, it was doing it a little bit again, although I caught it pretty fast. I think it was something in the microphone cable, and so there's actually a screw on the front. I tightened that down, and I haven't seen any issues since then. If I wiggle this around, it doesn't seem to be doing anything. I'm guessing it was something involving in that, so it might be fixed, but I don't know.
Fuzz.
Yeah, some cat fuzz. If it is the microphone cable, I do actually have an extra cable on board, so I can swap that out. It better not be the microphone because these are very expensive microphones, and they better last more than like 3 years. So anyway, let's check in on comments, and then we will get jumping on into stuff here. Oh, one more thing before we jump over into comments. I did release another article this week. This will probably be my last article until after camps and stuff. But this one is utilizing AI, and we did AI and the perfect unified religion, looking at where computers and robotics has been done as far as different religious ceremonies and things. Who knew it? But even the Protestants have their own. It's the Bless You Too robot, and it just sounds like the most Protestant thing I've ever heard in my life. It looks like it's literally a vending machine for blessings. Would you like a male voice or a female voice doling out your blessing? And then it's like you give it the verse, and then you choose the type of blessing, and it will literally raise its hand and open its hand, and a light comes out of its hand, and it proclaims its blessing upon you. I'm like, oh God, there are videos to this. Okay, if you click on the links in the article, it'll take out the videos, and I describe it as being a Christianized version of Zoltar. If you're not familiar with Zoltar and you've seen the movie Big, that was the Zoltar machine that he made the wish on it. But then we actually got down, looked at some of the AI stuff, and then we get down to the crazy psycho there who has decided that AI will eventually create the perfect religion that will religiously unify the world. And that sounds like something I read in the book of Revelation. But you can read the whole article over on stream.org. It is a Christian site. I realize some of you guys are not into that, but what we actually do, it's not just like your basic Christian stuff. The articles over here are very fascinating because they're really covering a lot of the cultural issues of the day from the Christian perspective, and they do dive into tech quite a bit. They actually reached out to me to offer to write for them because of the tech and what we do on this channel. So that was pretty cool. So that article's out, and if you guys need it, I just closed it, but I should be able to pull that back up. We'll go ahead and drop a link to it here. I did put it on the channel, on the YouTube channel at least. So there is always that. Let me go ahead and drop that over here. There, and where is my Rumble? There it is. All right, we got 12 watching over on Rumble. Devoured Eagle, greetings to you. They had no idea that allows this cool waiting screen. Yeah, so and they actually just added a few updates to do how many are waiting. But yeah, they've always had that update screen. Although, people are telling me I need to fix my branding and stuff. I think I literally created my account just before the branding was really online properly, and so my branding did not get kicked over. So I'll get that fixed eventually. We have 16 over on Odyssey. We're over on Odyssey. This Instigator, the Anchorage is over there. Muon, Windows subscription sounds good to me. I hope Apple follows too. Crank up that UP price and the Penguin will benefit. There you go. And no jabbies ever, says live stream from camp. And unfortunately, I can't really do that. And we got somewhere between 16 and 19 watching on the Tubies. Greetings and salutations to all. Like, and that thumbnail definitely depicts Microsoft's intentions. How do you finally got my AMD RX 6650 XT 8 gig GPU in the mail today? Very awesome. Very good. Just watched your Red Hat video and saw a live stream is about to start. Well, thank you. Kumar Gupta, greetings to you. 7:30 p.m. Easterns and 8 p.m. Fridays Eastern, unless otherwise announced. Greetings. Musical Neptune, hello. I made the right decision. Do not choose Fedora or Red Hat when I went to Linux in 2019. Shortlisted was Ubuntu Studio, Zorin, and Mint. Very good. Let's see. Kitty the Hut. That's right. Playing with Endeavor OS now. Very good. Just don't go Stallman and level facial growth, or you need to develop a sudden need to eat toenails. How do you know I don't already have a sudden need to eat toenails?
Nom nom.
No? Okay. That's kind of gross. Right. Camp Crystal Lake. No, we actually do not have a lake at our camp. We just didn't want to have to risk. We didn't want to have to risk some ski mask maniac attacking the kids. Just wasn't our thing. Hello, Uncle Mr. Bonehead. Microsoft bought. Okay, let me try that again. Tell him Microsoft bought Ubuntu when he gets back. There you go.
Yeah, and in the Matrix Live room, I have suggested that Ubuntu and Microsoft should actually do this as the next April Fool's joke and have a real press conference announcing the merger.
Yeah, but they wouldn't go back. They'd be like, well, this sounds like a great idea. And that's because on my show notes here, my point 4 is going to talk about why Microsoft can do this, and it still will not cause people to jump over to Linux, which is very sad. Speaking of which, I think I've gotten through all of the relevant comments, and anything you guys want to discuss briefly before we jump on in?
Speaking of April Fool's joke, I think I'm not sure if it was this year or last year, but on EFnet on IRC, it was one of the first networks that broke after the big IRC split in the early 1990s. There was one particular server that was banned across almost every network, which was eventually shut down. And the April Fool's was that they have EFnet and one of the other big networks was finally merging, linking with that server again. And and they actually created the A record, the actual URL that the server had back in the day. So it was actually live and was responding to ping and everything.
Nice. Sweet.
I really think, if Windows pulls this stunt, it's going to give a lot of individuals the thought, do I really need Windows for anything? Will a Chromebook do the job? And they might just simply get a Chromebook.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to cause a big stuff, but we got to, of course, we just tease what we're doing here, but we got to actually introduce the topic properly. So
yeah.
This was from the Matrix server today, TechSpot.
You need to change your banner.
What's that? Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah.
Before you actually start
I just started, man. Oh, thank you. I knew I was forgetting something.
You'll lose 5 points.
Oh no, Gryffindor's down 5 points.
I have a 5 to 10 second delay on YouTube, so
yeah, we'll get it fixed.
For those watching, this is the reason that Tom is taking a vacation in 2 weeks.
Yeah, see, my brain is completely fried.
He's going bing bong on us.
Except I do this like every week almost. It's really bad when I forget to do it on the weekly news roundup, and then I realize like halfway through, there you go. We got it fixed up now. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Dan. All right. So from TechSpot, Microsoft hints that Windows 11 could become fully cloud-based subscription service. Expect Linux installs to suddenly increase. Okay. So first, I'm not sure this would be Windows 11, being that Windows 12 is down the road soon, and so that might be something more for Windows 12. But let's go ahead and dive into what they're saying and why we should probably not expect a ton of sudden increase in Linux, mostly because people are like, and they just go along to the slaughter, but we'll get into why that might be in a bit. So, another hot potato. Another interesting piece of information has revealed the FTC versus Microsoft hearing, though this one isn't about games. The Redmond giant has been discussing pushing more of Windows 11 for consumers onto the cloud and could eventually make the OS subscription-only service. Now, this idea has been floated a few times. Of course, they have been testing some cloud server-based Windows implementations, mostly targeting towards businesses. So it's not like something brand new. We talked about that on this channel almost like 4 years ago. So as spotted by The Verge, an internal Microsoft document from June of 2022, that's 1 year ago, revealed in the hearing mentions in a consumer version of Windows 365. The slide called Modern Life Strategy and Priorities includes a bullet point labeled Move Windows 11 increasingly to the cloud. Microsoft writes that it wants to build on Windows 365, its corporate service, the part of the Azure platform that gives customers their own secure custom Windows virtual machine that can be accessed from browsers and apps, as well as Apple and Android devices. Company says it wants to enable a full Windows operating system streamed from the cloud to any device. Microsoft envisions this pay monthly/yearly software as a service using the power of the cloud and client to enable improved AI-powered services and full roaming of people's digital experience. That's all I need. All right. So here is the slide in question. Confidential business information, modern life strategies and priorities. The ambition of Modern Life Solution is to empower people to make most of their time. In this new era of PC, we're envisioning serving 1.5 billion people daily. So currently that's about a quarter, 20 to 25% of the Earth's population, if I remember correctly. Yeah. People daily with productivity devices, software, server access across work, life, education, and play via an integrated and personal Windows Plus experience. We know we are winning when developers choose our stores, the place to reach customers with the highest ROI. So by that, we know they're not winning. We have multiple apps with 100 million plus DAU on mobile platforms. Current priorities for fall of 2022. Windows 11 PC growth. They did fail at that because despite the constant pushing, Windows 11 actually dropped last month. Increasing units and share growth, usage minutes, and continue to popularize Windows development platform through the new OS innovation, service devices to inspire the ecosystem and set premium bar for quality and innovation. Microsoft Plus service attach, grow the attach and usage of Microsoft and third-party services such as Microsoft 365, Personal Family, Xbox Game Pass, and Microsoft Edge/Bing through integration on Windows 11. All things that are highly annoying in my opinion. Now, these are their long-term needle-moving opportunities. Oh, they move the needle. Only if it's moving the needle to bury the hatchet somewhere. All right. Move Windows 11 increasingly to the cloud. Build on Windows 365 to enable full Windows operating system stream from the cloud to any device. Use the power of the cloud and the client to enable improved AI-powered services and full roaming of people's digital experience. Custom silicone. Ensure competitiveness of the entire Windows ecosystem and the Surface hardware through investments in partner silicon, and to explore inorganic growth opportunities. Explore inorganic growth opportunities through partnership and acquisition of popular daily device experience. So let's extend, extinguish, embrace, extend, extinguish. All right, there we go. All right, what do you guys think of that so far?
So I think they have been talking about this for 25 years. I remember reading 25 years ago that about some system that they were developing, and their dream was that companies could have a server somewhere, and companies could stream whatever they needed. They used another word for it back then, but it was exactly the same system, only that the network speeds of the various offices back then using the internet was not big enough in order to facilitate this.
Yeah, so 25 years ago, the internet was pretty rough around here. You didn't have cable companies carrying internet speeds. You mainly had DSL or nothing.
Yeah, but the companies often have sometimes had leased lines with I think it was 1 megabit synchronous dedicated to each business if you had a lot of money. So that was one of the use cases that they was looking at, and clearly it didn't happen because no one could afford the lines that were needed at the time. So that is one of us in a documentary I watched 20 years ago about the internet bow that exploded in the late 90s. The big ISPs were rolling out a fiber across America in order to facilitate the internet that would use all these new businesses that existed on paper, and everything fell apart. And it's still enough to, most of those lines are still enough to facilitate the big traffic that America is using right now. So they were on their way to get this, and then everything fell apart. So, and it seems that the old idea is resurfacing. So they clearly have researched this for a few years at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The problem I see. The problem I see with this is that with people that just do not, they have subpar internet. They don't have broadband, super speeds. They're in the 25 megabit up and down or less category, where it's not going to be that useful for them.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard and clunky, and you can't really game very well on it. And like, I'm not paying extra money just to use Windows, to get better internet speed. So
not to mention the hardware limitations of over the cloud virtualization. Because this is the direction a lot of websites are going. I had a client, one of the clients, I update the articles for the blog and do the SEO and stuff like that. Well, they hire out the writing to, I think, somebody on Fiverr, and he's traveling right now, and so he got all the articles in, so he sent forwarded the message to me like, hey, can you download these articles? There's like a dozen of them. I could not log into more than one instance of Google's documents, like Google Docs. I could not log into more than one instance at a time without crashing down. It's just like, what's going on? Because it requires so many system resources. Now, understand that my web development computer, I use a Raspberry Pi. You say, well, of course you can't do a Raspberry Pi. Yeah, but the problem we have is that should be the type of power, unless I'm doing video production, that type of computer should be able to handle anything on a basic web page, but it can't because they're putting so much crap into it. And I imagine that virtualization through an app that's going to manage an entire Windows instance is probably going to run into the exact same circumstance. So it's not going to be able to run on everything. You're still going to have a decent system. The difference is that all of the files, everything, 100% is on somebody else's servers. And they just now have the full control, and so you have zero privacy and you have zero actual freedom, and anything they see on that server that they don't like, they just pop it off because and
one other reason for doing this as far as Microsoft is concerned is they have a much better control over the users actually paying a license for Windows, and also can prevent installing software that can be used for piracy and so on, or can be, or that they suspect are used for piracy. So,
or suspect are good free and open source software, like that program that is roughly named like my friend Cody is, but so it's an interesting thing, but then it begs this question: do we need more subscription services? And that's really where the article kind of moves into. Next year.
That's something I wanted to touch on too. We're already caked into a ton of subscription services, to the point that the Gen Z public thinks you have to be online 24/7. There's other things, there's subscription service too. You don't hear about a lot until you become aware of it through a news article or something and ask about it. Like Mercedes-Benz, their cars. They just they sell them with a certain amount of horsepower, but they're capable of much more. You have to pay a monthly subscription fee to get the extra horsepower. When your subscription runs out, your car goes back down to 25 horsepower.
Yeah, it's like,
You know,
would you like more? Then you'll get ads in a dashboard. Would you like to go faster?
Cadillac is just now pulling this junk with their air conditioning, heated seats, and all that other stuff where you got to pay OnStar for that.
Yeah, it's like, I'm sorry. This is why we need the solid laws to say, look, if it's built into the car, it needs to work at the base price. Because this is what options are for. Because you do options like, okay, I don't want the extra option. I want to pay a little bit less. I don't need that extra crap. You just build the car without the damn thing.
You're paying for the car with this this package that it's made with. It has all this extra hardware built into the sticker price, but you're still paying to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's thievery, and it's dishonest, and it leaves a really bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah,
it almost sounds like extortion.
It
does. It does, and that's where they get into their next. So TechSpot identifies that June last year survey found that people spent on average $219 a month on subscriptions. That's a lot. And when you're putting your primary operating system on that as well. See, I mean, it's one thing to have some type of business application. I get business has different applications. To have a business-focused Windows machine, that's one thing. But even back when we were talking about this several years ago on this channel, we said, hey, this is just pushed out for the business. This is eventually going to go out to the consumer. That's really what they're trying to do. So it has risen again because, as they point out here in the article, it's great for them to be able to say, hey, we know we're going to get this much money monthly, and you're so locked into all this, you don't even know that there's other options out there. This is just the facts of life. You're going to have to do this. And then, as Louis Rossman points out, one company does this, so the other companies are going to jump on board. So, Chrome OS is going to do this, and then Apple's going to do this. Before you know it, everyone's going to be like, well, you got to have your $50 a month subscription to have a computer, because we're in the computer age and everyone has to have a computer. It's like, this drives me crazy that there's many services and government functions that you have to do online these days. It's like, I don't want to do it online. Well, okay, well, you have to do it online. That's the way we do things now. Okay, then why is my internet not considered a basic utility? Why are you getting rid of Title II, internet neutrality here? And they don't know how to answer it. So that's kind of the problem. Now, what's the likelihood of this happening? Anytime soon, probably not major, because if all of a sudden tomorrow they're like, all right, everybody, you guys have to start paying monthly for your computer and it's all moving to the cloud, it's going to cause a massive, massive industry uproar.
I think they're going to sneak it in phases.
That's exactly what they're doing. And that's what that plan demonstrated, is sneaking it in phases. And so moving it in phases is exactly where they're going to go. But they're going to slowly do it. They're going to do more and more. In fact, back in Windows 10, the codecs to play the WMA files were on the cloud. So if you had WMA files on your Windows computer, you could not play those unless you actually were connected to the internet. And, the guys at Napster discovered that, or the customers at Napster discovered that. Now, of course, there's I've talked about briefly before, there's a channel, I think it was called Jay Christina, if I remember correctly. He is a graphic designer guy, and he was, he's like me, normally Adobe devotee, doing all his work, and he's on vacation, and he had no idea this stuff was perpetually cloud connected. And so he's on vacation. He's like, the great thing about being a freelancer is I can go on vacation and still work. He goes up to the top of this mountain. He says, inspiring view. He's going to get a little bit of work done. He boots up his computer, and none of his Adobe software starts because there's no internet on top of the mountain. And so that pissed him off, and he started looking at every alternative. Now, he did not focus on the FOSS alternatives. He reviewed and evaluated even every paid option, every alternative. He just said, I don't care if I'm paying you money. That's fine. I just want to be able to use the software I paid for offline anytime, and I don't want to have to pay a subscription fee. And so he's created a whole YouTube channel out of reviewing alternatives to creative suite packages like Adobe packages and things like that. So, and he'll look at GIMP, and he'll look at other paid alternatives to it and things like that.
Yeah,
so,
in the distant past, when the internet wasn't so popular, if you had a unique custom CAD package or something like that, I know at one of the electronics research facilities I worked at, they used EE Designer to design circuit boards and schematics for the circuit boards and stuff like that. Rather than having the software It wasn't even thought of it for it to talk to the home to make sure that it was viable. It had a hardware key that went into the serial port, and if you didn't have that hardware key in the serial port for the computer, it wouldn't work.
Way to secure your system, I guess. But the problem is we have all these banks who are like, we care about your security, so we're going to force you to implement
like an old-fashioned YubiKey.
Yeah, that's the better way to do it. But so my thoughts of the likelihood of this happening is almost nothing. I did like some of the comments. So this confirms the last non-Linux OS is my current Windows 10. Though it's still going to last me a while. All right. There you go. Expect Linux installs to suddenly increase. So I think this guy might be coming on that. Let's read this one. I've read these a little while ago, and they've all shuffled around since then. I use Linux on a daily basis for work, and some purposes this makes the best usage case: office work, switch, router, firewall, WAF, servers, cloud, etc. Unfortunately, current games require a vast knowledge of time-consuming configuration. Can you guys speak to that, Dan, specifically? Does it really take that much time to configure games?
It's getting a little easier. If you're using Steam, you can go to Proton D and put in your game, and it'll show you things if the game works or not. And they're graded, bad, gold, silver, platinum, and what people say about how much trouble it takes to get them to work. But I noticed games that I've bought in the past that I fought with to work now just work if you use Steam and then you put in Proton Experimental. And if it recommends something on Proton D that you have to add in the command line to fix the sound or something like that, it usually works. But now, like, if you're taking a ton of games and you're rebuilding a machine and you have all your games on one drive and you're reinstalling Steam and you're putting it together, it's best that you have a running text list of what the Proton version and the settings you use for that game is to reinstall it in your new install. It is really tough to actually, put your gaming system back together after you've destroyed it by, let's say, upgrading your system to Debian 12.
Sure.
Now, there was a problem, I use Lutris too. Lutris, a lot of the older games will work on that. I did, at first, from GOG purchase, Horizon Zero Dawn, and I was kind of upset that the game controller wouldn't work with it. And then I purchased the Steam version when it went on sale, and it did work with it. Well, come to find out a half a year later, Steam did something to not make the game work so well and make it freeze. So I took the files that I bought from GOG and I installed them in Lutris, and then somebody in Proton D for the Steam had mentioned if you're using Lutris, use this glorious egg roll build so and your game controller will work. And sure enough, it did.
Okay. So there's resources out there, but it could be time consuming if you have a lot of.
From what I understand from the Windows people, they have their bugs too with these games. They're not bug free, and as they're getting more and more advanced, and you're getting out of 75 gigabyte downloads to 125 for textures and all that. Yeah, they're getting a little more complicated. Then you have your graphics card settings in the games too. If depending on the card you got, if you want ray tracing and all that junk, DLSS, graphics generation, you got kind of toy with that to get the best results.
Sure. So let's see. This guy says if you're going to be stuck when you buy a new PC in the future, but then cloud service lessens software piracy. Which it does. Expect a decline in PC and a rise in Mac. That's probably going to be the first major change, unless people don't want to pay the Apple tax. Hi to you, Linux Mint.
And there's also the issue with the customer service with Apple products. If there is something wrong with the device, and then a lot of people have the experience that a lot of things won't get fixed because they claim that you did something and they don't. And Louis Rossmann is all over this. So there will be some movement towards Mac, but I think that most users most gamers will pay the monthly subscription and just.
I think the
How-
problem is though is that how well is that going to work? Because I don't see
Yeah.
It isn't.
I
You
don't see
need the graphics
doing that.
card on your local hardware if you're going to play
Yeah.
any modern games.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
and so you're still going to need
Yeah,
a
not
big computer.
necessarily.
It's just that. Now,
Yeah,
I think as was said earlier, what's going to increase use is probably Chrome OS. Of course, then once this happens to fly, then they're going to do the same thing. So, go ahead, Sylvie.
Well,
Yeah, so
no,
there is. I remember Linus Tech Tips reviewed this 2 or 3 years ago. There was a company California-based who had a subscription service for GPUs that they would crunch things that your local graphics card was not equipped to handle, and then so you would offload a lot of the some of the modern games would run in a VM at them, and they would stream the experience back to them. And Rossman said that it doesn't. It's not as good as having the actual hardware on your local system, but apart from that, the experience was actually really good.
why do you think the Google gaming thing that they tried failed? I forgot the name of it. Google
Stadia.
Stadia, yeah. They had that out for a year. The problem with it was the latency from the input from your game controller to the computer back to your screen was so bad you couldn't really...
Well, and that raises the biggest problem with this whole model is the people putting these brilliant ideas together and building these brilliant UIs and crap for these modern web applications. They're sitting there building all this stuff on supercomputers from a Silicon Valley office with the fastest internet possibly known to man. And they just cannot conceive of the fact that the average person does not have access to that kind of computer or that kind of internet. So where I'm at right here, the best internet we can get at this house where I'm at is so slow I can't even stream on it. I can't download a movie on it. I can't do much of anything on it. It is like if it might get to like 3 down and maybe 1 up. It's completely unsustainable. Now, I'm here doing this stream on a cellular internet connection because my cellular system is very robust. But that's the best internet they can get out here. The best internet. And it's so slow, we can't do basic stuff with it here. You can't stream something. You can't stream from 2 different services from two different computers in the house at the same time. I'll often go in there and I'll be downloading distros. The only way I can get distros to download on their internet because it's so slow is to use a torrent. And then they start buffering on their stuff. I'm like, I'm stealing all your bandwidth for the next 5 minutes. You know?
Yeah, maybe you should clue them in on getting a cellular connection over landline.
No, because the problem you have with a cellular connection is it doesn't have enough bandwidth. Like I am very, very limited. I'm paying $150 a month. And I only get 150 gigabytes.
Yeah, the cellular internet, even if it's fast and it's plenty enough for everything that you can throw at it, it is limited. So you have just so much that you can use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that really is the problem is that, and then the second is the hardware. People don't go around necessarily and buy multiple $1,000 computers. It's like the Malibu computer I looked at. It's a very good computer. I personally wouldn't buy one because I just don't need that much power in a computer. If I need, the only thing I do that requires that much power is the streaming computer, and I'm going to build that. But other than that, I don't use this computer for anything but video production because it's a waste of power to use it for anything else. The vast majority of my job can be done on a Raspberry Pi or just a modern out-of-the-box laptop. And that's what works until you start putting all these amazing web applications together and relying on the internet connection and then client-side UI, JavaScript, and JS node processing to go on a computer that doesn't have the power to do it. Because these guys, we should make them work off of Best Buy low-end computers in the middle of the country on the best internet they can get and see how amazing their programs are. And they'll be like, this is all crap. It's like, that's why Stadia died. Because it's not going to work. And that's why Windows will probably not be moving to this model, because here in America, we have crappy internet. Now, what's really hilarious is, of course, the illustrious Alzheimer's patients in chief just signed a bill giving another multi-billions of dollars to the cell phone or to the ISPs to wire the country up. We're going to wire the country up. Dude, we've given them billions of dollars 3 times now. They've stolen the money. They've given it to their CEOs as bonuses. And then they said, well, it just costs too much to put internet out in the country. We've already done this. No, we should be telling them, you're going to be paying us $9 billion in fines if you don't do this now. And if your CEO doesn't get a bonus, so be it. Because we've already given them money. We have the 96
it doesn't
the
matter
96
if they
law.
do it now. Because let's say they come into a community like where I'm at. Okay. Because the internet wasn't really a thing at one time, even around here. What they do is they come in and they put in this high-speed Comcast junk, which, from what I hear, it is very fast. It's fiber, but they charge you like the $200 for it.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
yeah, and that's and
so
that's the
even
thing.
if
Not
they
everybody
go
has
out
that
and they
much money for it.
populate the entire, half of the state with this stuff, they're going to want their money back plus what the government gave them and double down on their shareholders and fill their pockets too.
Yeah. All right. So I want to move into the 4th discussion point I had today because we're running out of time. So let's suppose, just for sake of example, that Microsoft goes full stupid mode and decides, all right, we are going to go ahead and push this. And now, this year it's going to be a slow rollout. And then in 2 years, and then in the 3rd year, it's going to be subscription based only. How much is this going to move the needle towards Linux or anything else? My guess is maybe 5 to 10% might jump off, and that's being paid. Most people are sadly, they're just going to go along with it because that's just what people tend to do.
My guess is that those who are being pushed to Linux as a result of this are going to be people who are not gamers, because gamers are going to do whatever they need to do in order to play the games that they always been playing. So they will not be actually affected by this, other than a monthly paycheck that they have to shell out every month, in addition to. Some of them might actually think that it's cheaper because you don't have to shell out too much money in one go in order to get the new version of Windows. You just subscribe to it and they will do it. So those who are moving to Linux or to Mac or to something else are going to be people who are just every day. They just use it for work, or they use it for banking, or just browsing. And this will be the final straw that they are not.
The offline gaming, if they put it on servers, even if they could get it to work, everybody's got their own games. At 100 gigabytes a game, a whole server building's going to fill up really fast with people's saved games. It's not feasible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You might have the gamers switching back to consoles, because the consoles can handle the PC games, because that's originally where they came from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
they can switch to Linux and game on Linux.
Then we're going to have this fight. You can't be doing your online gaming on Linux, because those people who are running their games from their local operating system have a specific advantage of those people on the Windows subscription service in the cloud.
And it's you can't do it. You can't do that kind of a thing on the cloud. I mean, people are going to have to either switch to a different operating system. There's basically 3 or 4 types of people that use Windows anyways. You've got your business people. They're going to do what they need to do to have their business work.
Yep.
You have content creators. I don't know how that's going to work out with having your content compile on Microsoft service so you can put it on a Google YouTube channel. You got your gamers, and then you got your just basic web browser people, which they can do that on a Chromebook.
Mm-hmm.
Now, over the past, since the beginning of the year, I've ran into a number of people that have got these laptops that have had Windows 7 and Windows 8 on them, and they don't know what to do with them. And I'm like, would you like to use it again? And they said, sure. I don't want to throw it out if I can use it again. I asked them a few hardware questions. Is the battery decent in it and stuff like that? And voila, I put Linux Mint on them. They're happy with them. They can do everything a Chromebook can do.
Yeah. Sadly, though, most people are not going to switch simply because they just do what they're told, because that's how at least in America, the education system is not designed to teach you any form of critical thinking. It's designed to make you an obedient person. So they say, oh, I guess this is the change. I hate it, but okay. They don't realize something else is out there, and they don't have the motivation to do it because we've been entertained into a total stupor. And those are my primary reasons why, sadly, most people are going to go on like sheep to the slaughter. I want to address this one question or this one comment here real quick over on Odyssey. What about Calix Internet? So the problem with Calix Internet is they are only providing internet, to my knowledge. They might have changed something. I haven't looked into it in a number of years now. But for a while, like a lot of the other mobile internet systems, all they provided was like a basic personal wireless hotspot, like the little wireless hotspot things. You couldn't plug stuff in. Here in the van, everything on this is done through a wired network. I have one cellular connection that goes through my modem, feeds into my router, and all of my devices run off of, they all run off of the Ethernet network. They don't run off of wireless. I don't connect things wirelessly. Even my laptops, when I'm using them regularly, I actually have a laptop port right in my van. I actually have an Ethernet jack in the wall of my van to plug directly into my router. And I actually was thinking about installing a second one. So,
Nice.
so you know, it's not feasible to run everything on wireless. I know it's like, yes, it's technically possible to do this, but you have a lot of issues. You have a lot of problems. You have, you know, the cellular system doesn't work right. And then, of course, if you're running the internet through that little device, you have no LAN. A lot of what I have running in my van requires a LAN. And I need that LAN to function. And the only way to have that LAN function is to run my router. Now, I have a way to make that system work. That is the Raspberry Pi that I demonstrated back in January. I built a Raspberry Pi that takes any wireless signal it sees and then converts that, feeds it back through the Ethernet jack into my router's WAN port. So I can make that strategy work, but that's very clunky for what I need to do where my current system sets up. Now, there's one more company that actually does support my modem, and it's a little bit more money. It's for twice the bandwidth. I can't justify the extra cost for twice the bandwidth because I'm careful with my internet, but I only run into the bandwidth issues occasionally. So I don't know.
Yeah, you have to decide between being in a van and traveling all over the places and your expenses as you're doing that. Are you going to get any extra money out of extra bandwidth? You know, you'd have to make twice the content to make it work.
And the reality is no, because if I'm close to bandwidth issues and I'm traveling around, I can always pull into, you know, like a Walmart parking lot and throw my Raspberry Pi out the window and feed it and borrow their internet, which I have done before. Yes. Just throw the Pi on out there, you know. What I should do is I've looked into seeing if you can add an external antenna to a Raspberry Pi, and it to do so would actually break FCC laws in America, so you can't do that. Believe it or not, you can't put an extra antenna on top of a Pi legally in the United States. But I thought about, is there a way I can build some form of hatch? I can mount it outside the van and feed wires back through. Not easily, but it would feel theoretically possible. But as long as I can get it towards the back window. So I have learned in Walmarts where their outdoor routers are, so I can get the best internet. And I've learned how to park next to them. So all I need to do is point my back window in the vicinity of that and set the Pi right near the back window, and I feed in perfectly. And nobody even knows that I'm mooching the internet off of their systems.
Nice.
And I have a whole video about how that thing works on the channel.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's good.
There is that reminds me. There is another way to do this. There is, or at least there used to be a YouTube channel who focused on how to extend your wireless network, wireless range in some cases. And one of the best, you could put some household items on top of around your wireless antenna, and then you could direct it towards a certain angle. And one of the best items to use was if you cut in half on the length of the box over the around Pringles boxes. They are excellent for directing wireless antennas.
What type of boxes?
Pringles.
Oh, Pringles cans.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
someone they tested the range of them, and I think if I remember correctly, they managed to get a wireless connection between two wireless networks for over 5 or 6 kilometers.
Oh wow, that's pretty good. Now the modem that I have does have an antenna, and so that I have actually an external mounted antenna that the way it's mounted, it uses my entire van as an antenna expander. Because as long as you need to mount it on metal, and then any metal surface that's attached to will expand the range of the antenna, and so it's mounted directly onto the external metal of the van. So it's like
Nice.
giant metal antenna. And Dakota Rustler. Yes, I'm mooching off of others. All right, let's check in on comments here. Let's see. Buffering like mad. That was from Friday over on the Lost Stepchild of D Live. We got a couple folks over here on Twitch. Platypus and Inishato. Greetings to you guys. Yep, Windows constantly getting broken in substandard game ports. All right, we got some stuff going on over on Rumble. Let's see, Windows can't be like Chromebooks. Windows will be like Chromebooks, yeah. At least they'll use their hardware to run telemetry. Yeah, their hardware to run telemetry instead of mine. There you go. I despise the Chromebook. I would say change the wheel and make sure you get your roof fixed. Then you can make pancakes. What? What are you talking about? I'm completely confused on that comment. Maybe something I forgot about.
If they're going to put Windows on a server and stuff like that, they can send me my telemetry back.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
Yeah.
My new Windows 10 laptop broke and crashed and didn't get a recovery disk. It won't start. What do I do? Part the hell out because no. So user 2491. What you do is you go over to Microsoft's site. You can download a copy of Windows. So hopefully you have some other way to get online. You can download a copy of Windows. And then you can create an install disk. If you can't get it to work on their Windows creation disk tool, you can actually drop that onto a Ventoy disk, which I covered a video about how to create Ventoy. You can reboot that, and as long as all the rest of your hardware is still the same, it should auto-detect the key from the hardware. So you shouldn't have to enter anything in. If nothing else, you can sign in with whatever Microsoft account you had and do a support request, and they will get you your license key back. Now, that being said, yes, definitely as to your next comment, just switch to Linux. But yes, it's technically possible to get your Windows installation and license key back and do it legally. Don't go to torrent sites, especially for Windows 10 or above, because Microsoft makes the downloads available for their system. Although you probably can't get 10 anymore. You're probably stuck with 11.
There is one thing that he needs to be aware of, and that is if his language that he's going to use is something other than English, then he needs to be careful about which ISO he's downloading from Microsoft.
Yes.
Not all of the ISOs are bootable.
Yeah, make sure you grab your ISOs with your languages and look into that if that's an issue.
Yeah, but even if the language is there, they are have at least some of them have at least two versions of which only one is bootable for non-English ISOs. So yeah, there is some issues with that.
So yeah, apparently
there is legal. It is legal to download the ISOs from Microsoft.
Yep. Quantum Alpha says the 6.3 kernel no longer is compatible with his AMD EPYC Tower. It's only a year and a half old. They said it's redundant. What? Interesting.
Yeah, that's an issue with often with the kernel upgrades. There is not sometimes they have old hardware that they are no longer supporting, and for usually the reason is that it's becoming too hard to get a code to run to compile. And it's really and most often it is more than 20-year-old hardware at this point.
Well, that piece of hardware he's talking about is only like a year and a half old.
Yeah.
We had 18 over on Rumble. We got 20 watching over on Odyssey, or over on Odyssey. This guy here. Let's see what we got. Let's see. It's all good until the servers go down and can't do anything, just like when the smart devices wouldn't work on the Amazon account. Yeah, Microsoft's like in the vicinity of your microphone, we heard the hard N word, and so we closed you out.
This makes Microsoft one of the most ungreen companies there is.
Yeah, Microsoft,
because they're putting everybody's computers into one computer and sucking up all the power for one general location. Microsoft might as well buy a nuclear power plant to put next door.
Yeah.
No, he's buying up all the farmlands instead.
Yeah, and they are increasing the amount of computers that is needed to run a single computer. But most of the it's going to be a big virtual machine server farm that they're using for this. But you need servers in order to run this VM. So which they don't need to do if they just skip this idea.
Yeah, it's way, way better if they just go ahead and distribute the power across the world. Way better. Leah Zavere says, I blame the people who want 4K and now want 8K screens because images have become big. Yeah, I think it's a complete useless thing. In fact, I think that's why Malleable got mad, because I said, one of the only gripes I had about the computer is like, why do you need such a high resolution on a computer? Because it made it hard to use. And I think that pissed them off for some reason. I have no idea why.
I think the debate between 1080p, 1440p, 4K, and 8K, the only beneficial you get in these sizes is how big your screen is.
Yeah.
Well,
so if you got like a 50-inch screen, 4K is plenty. You'll barely notice the difference with 8K until you get up to 65, 70, inch TV screen.
Yeah, the problem is you get these higher resolutions, and then you have to scale your DPI up, and then everyone starts whining about this DPI doesn't work right. Like get a sane resolution.
I got a 1440p screen here. I have to pull out the magnifying glass to see some of the junk that comes up on it.
Yeah, there you go.
There was some news. I think I mentioned this last year in one of the comment section in this stream. One use case for an 8K screen is there was a guy in Oslo who I think he won $7 million on the lottery last year, and he bought a TV costing $150,000 for a TV, and it was so big it wouldn't fit in the elevator or carry the stairs. So they had to hire a crane, and there were 4 people from the store that sold the TV and who had to mount it on the wall. I think it was 100 and 120 inch TV and something. On those sizes, 8K would make sense, but you need a really big TV in order to actually have a use for 8K.
Yeah, the only thing I have to say about that is Frank's 2000
and even then
TV.
you need to have a content in order to push to this. So there is no movies.
Yeah, you're so true about that. I haven't seen anything on the shelves in the store that says 8K compatible.
Yeah. Obviously, we're not going to play it for copyright reasons, but you got to, in light of this, you got to listen to Weird Al's song, Frank's 2000-inch TV. It's great.
Yeah, Weird Al has a lot of good commentary in songs.
Yeah. All right. Checking in on Z2Bs. We got roughly just under 30 people watching on the 2Bs, and there's a lot of comments there. So if anybody sees any comments, I will probably not be able to stream through them all because if I pick up my mouse, it does weird stuff with the wheels. So I really need to invest the $10 it's going to cost me to go to Walmart and pick up a new mouse because this one's actually falling apart. If you guys can see that.
No, it's below the camera.
Yeah, you guys can't, but there's for you
to-
guys. There you go.
Tom,
I
don't
see it.
settle for any cheap mouse. Get a mouse that will fit good in your hand. A mouse is an extension of your hand.
Oh no, these
your
these
hand
are
is
perfect
on the
for me.
mouse most of the time.
No,
that you're
these are
working.
perfect for me. They're I love these mice. It's just this one's so old and has been dropped so many times. I think I've actually had this particular mouse for close to 5 years. It's been glued together a few times. I don't know. I could probably give it just another round of glue and it'd probably last a little while longer. The problem is the little scroll lock wheel. As you roll this thing and it locks a little bit, it's broken apparently, and so
it's
I can
supposed
just
to click.
and then it will not stop. So
Your clicker and your mouse wheels broke.
yes, so it's probably just.
My
I
main,
probably just need to go out
requirements
and throw the few bucks into buying a new one. So.
Yeah. The main
just
feature that I look for in a mouse is the back and forward buttons on the side.
I got those on mine too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, some of my
heavily
mice
depend on
have those. I don't use them a lot, so.
I use them almost
really
every hour.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I use it to browse back and forth on every website. So.
Oh, Dan's back. All right.
Yep.
Dan decided he's like, I'm out of here. I'm back.
That was fast, man. I hit one button down and it went off, and I hit the up button and everything came back.
Wow, interesting.
Good job.
I guess we have hotkeys that take us on and off really fast.
That is the hottest on and off I've ever done.
Was that the up and down arrows? What was that?
No, up and down buttons on the side of your mouse for your thumb.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's what they do on Jitsi.
You get a
Oh,
lollipop. Someone buy him some French toast.
All right, sounds like SimCity 5 all over again. Also looks like MS might put the Apple with their own ARM CPU designs. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, they do more stuff. Then, of course, they're
That's
going to be
another thing that Linus Tech Tips did a video on, is that Microsoft wants to develop their own chips now.
They do.
Yeah, which, I don't know, will probably be problematic because it'll be harder to get chips specifically for Linux builds. Of course, that just means more development on those customized chips for Linux, so we'll see.
We'll just have to use server-side chips.
Yep.
Someone, I think it will resolve itself because I'm pretty sure that someone who is one of the first to buy these devices using a Microsoft chip will donate one to Linus Torvalds or the kernel community in order to make drivers to run this thing. So.
And not only that, when you have the Intel CPUs, Linux is just barely figuring this out, how to schedule the E cores and the P cores on the 12th generations and newer.
Yeah,
That's kind of why I went with AMD, because it doesn't have that cheese down core set. And they're just trying to figure that out on Linux. It works best on Windows 11. Because it's Windows 11 came out when they started coming out with these chips, so it's optimized to work with them.
Mm-hmm.
Windows 10, not so much.
Yeah.
There's a comment on YouTube by CCJ in 1998. His suggestion is to get a gaming mouse because his experience is that they tend to last longer.
No, I hate gaming mice because they're wired. I am in a very small
a Logitech
space.
Gaming mouse. It's not wired.
Yeah, I'm also not interested in paying $100 for a mouse. I'm cheap. I'm cheap. I have zero problem. I like this mouse. It has lasted me 5 years, and a modern device lasting me 5 years for $10 is a good deal. So, it's just a matter of deciding to go to Walmart and buying one. It's not like, oh my God, I'm not really looking for suggestions on mice. I actually just bought one for my other my other computer as well, which love it. It's the same thing, and I'm getting them different colors because
this?
like I have all these mice up here that are the exact
Nice.
same colors, and it's easy. I'm finding it's really easy for me to know what mouse it is based on the color. So this one's a different color now, and then the one
This
I put
one's
in
a
my other
Microsoft
laptop
mini
is a different
mice
color.
Mini mouse for a laptop.
Yeah, so there's those. I have a mini one in my writing computer, but I don't like that mouse. It's too small.
I wish I could mail you a mouse because I got drawers full of them.
Well, I will be here for about another month. If you want to mail me a mouse, you can go ahead and do so. But it also needs to be a Logitech unifying mouse.
Yeah, so
I don't know if I get any
the
of
art
those.
of so the act of mailing you something is like a game of whack-a-mole. Where is
Yeah.
it going to be when I mail something?
Correct. That's the thing. But it's like because I get those, and then there's a Linux application to reprogram your Logitech unified stuff. That way, I have one device, like one USB port with a keyboard mouse combo. In fact, the other keyboard I'm using, so my Raspberry Pi has. Whoop, sorry about that. My Raspberry Pi has the keyboard with the design on it and the blue mouse, so I can keep all the stuff straight because then my streaming computer is just a solid black keyboard. And this mouse and the mouse for the other computer are identical. So I do kind of want to get another one anyway. I'll probably keep this one because it technically functionally works. It's just annoying. So I'll probably buy another one and just throw this in storage or something.
You're probably better off to go pick out the one you really want. The ones I
Yeah.
got that are in the drawer for a reason.
Yeah, I mean it's not a big deal. Dakota Rustler says subscription software would complete my conversion to Amish. There you go. And yes, Google is rebooting. I don't know if it's Stadia necessarily, but Google is going to be building games into YouTube. So great. Now, in addition to having to shut off the stupid shorts shelf that I don't want to see every 30 days, now I'm going to have to shut off a stupid game system every 30 days that I also don't want to see. Great. Good to know.
Yeah, I dislike the way that they implement the shorts so much that I have installed a plugin in my the browser that redirects each shorts links to the actual YouTube link, and
I
it
won't
only plays
watch
that
them.
video. Yeah, I've watched some specific shorts like that have content that is interesting, but I manually click on those, and they only play that one single video. They don't autoplay like 5 in a row, which seems to be.
Yeah,
I can't stand 1 minute videos. It's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I have
they're
better
not
things to do with my
complete.
time than click a video every minute and then break my concentration when it's over. Because I'm not sitting here just watching. Oh my God, look at all that kind of stuff. You know?
You're watching a bunch of hot air because the video that's supposed to be the real thing that got shortened to a short don't have all its content there.
Yeah.
So your attention is grabbed for a second, then lost towards the end because it's just a guy talking about the same thing on and on and on.
All this time I thought Tom had a really long cord. Yeah, I'm wired in. Just a really long cord. It's kind of fun, man. Chip people with it all the time. Let's see. I think... Let's see, unless there's any more comments anybody else sees, I think we're going to wrap this up. We're actually already like 10 minutes overdue. I'm just kind of looking. Got nuked overseas. Several writers mentioned this one. Writing style had it all over. All right. Okay.
There was one comment, I don't remember his name, about 4K, and he said that the problem with the 4K TVs is that you need 4K equipment to be able to utilize the higher quality. And I have a 4K TV, and my laptop that is connected to it can only supply 1080p, and I'm satisfied with that. The 1080p quality is excellent on my 55-inch TV, and I don't actually see the need to have a bigger resolution.
I don't even use my TV anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It comes to a point where, everything that the device that is the best is not usually the one that wins. It's the one that people finds good enough, and 1080p seems to be the good enough quality for most people.
Yeah, because I definitely don't have 4K eyeballs.
Ooh, Rocky responded to Red Hat's response. Sweet. I'll have to look into that after the show's over here. We're not going to go into it right now.
Now you're going to get nothing but mouse ads from here on out.
Great. How wonderful. All right, we're going to wrap this up here. I'm actually completely about to melt from heat in this van. I need to get my fan turned back on, but it's quite loud. We are premiering a video over on the Christian channel tonight. Amos chapter 3 verses 1 through 9. Come watch me destroy my people is what it's called. So if you are interested in such Christian type stuff, go ahead and do it. See, my mouse just accidentally adjusted the size of my comment feed on Odyssey so small I can't read comments. I need a new mouse. Priority, buy a new mouse.
You don't need a mouse, you need a rat.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's the size of a shoebox.
There we are. All right, there we are. So I went ahead and dropped that in there. Of course, it'll appear on the alt text places soon. No tempting kitties tonight. We're not streaming over there because it's I got to start doing the news. And if I stream on the Christian channel starting at 9 and I finish up and get stuff put away by 10 or 11 and stuff, dude, I am doing news until 3 a.m. and I'm actually shifting myself to be up a little bit earlier in the morning. I don't want to go to sleep at 3 a.m. So I gotta jump off here so I can get started on the news for tomorrow. Weekly news roundup tomorrow. So you can jump on over there. That'll be at 8:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you can jump on over there. But we will premiere the Christian video is set up as a premiere. It will start in about 45 minutes from now. So if you're interested in that content, go on over there. If you're not, we'll see you tomorrow for the news instead. And with that, thanks for watching, everybody, and we will see you all next time.